Okay, good morning, everyone. We are starting finally the CLIC Startup Competition. Thank you all for being with us this morning. We have a full day, a full morning. You see the agenda. Very quickly, I will summarize what we are doing this morning with our 15 startups, to which I need to congratulate very much to being arrived to this point. So it was a very long selection and very hard because we had a lot of applications for the competition. This is a meeting organized by the Horizon 2020 CLIC project, a research and innovation project funded by the European Commission and led by the CNR IRIS, National Research Council of Italy, Institute for Research on Innovation and Services for Development. So we have great speakers this morning, and most of all, most importantly, 15 great startups who will present their projects and show their business ideas. So welcome again, everyone. We have a summary of the session. You see the slide. Welcome session. So now I will introduce in just a second the speakers of the first session. Then we will have 3 sessions with the startups presenting. The first one is about circular tourism. It's one of the topics of the CLIC startup competition. Second session will be at 11:10, and it's about circular and creative cities and regions. And here also we have 5 startups presenting and 2 keynote speakers. And the third session is about circular creative industries and social innovation. So again, we will have 5 startups, so 15 in total, and other 2 keynote speakers. Then we will close near to 1 p.m. To explain what's next and to see how the competition will continue up to 27 of November. So on Friday, 27 in the morning, same time at 10, we have the very final pitch session with an amazing session with the artist Mundano and other keynote speakers, very relevant. And then at the end of the morning on Friday, we will have the award session, the award ceremony in which we will award 5 startups. Next slide, please. So we are on a Zoom event, so please choose the speaker view so that you can watch the person talking. Then keep your camera, so your camera, you can keep it on, but please keep your microphone off so that we don't have noise. Of course, everyone is used to this kind of meeting, but in any case, I need to repeat. And let's use the chat to share any comment or thoughts about this, about the meeting and the sessions. So keep in mind that everything is being recording. Okay, so next slide, please. So just a summary about the startup competition. We had 73 applicants from all over the world. This is something amazing. We didn't expect so much. So thank you for all the 73 applicants who participated. Everyone has also had an interview. So we had interviews with all the startups, and we selected 25 best startups who went for the online vote. During the last week, we had the online vote, and almost 4,000 people voted for our startups. So we are really grateful and amazed about the great engagement of the startups and of the public. So thank you to all. And now today we have selected 15 finalists to present and to become the next generation circular startups. So Next slide, please. We have now our speakers for the first part of the meeting, and I am very pleased to introduce Professor Massimo Clemente, who is the director of our institute, CNR IRIS. Then we have, just after Massimo, Valeria Fascione, who is the counselor of the Campania region for innovation and startups. So thank you, Valeria, for being with us. Then we have Professor Luigi Fusco Girard, who is a CLIC scientific coordinator, and he will also show us which is the CLIC concept and why this competition is different from some other startup competitions that perhaps you have seen so far. And then we have Ugo Guarnacci from the European Commission, also the project advisor of CLIC, and he is, of course, a super expert of the CLIC concept and really an expert in business innovation. So thank you for being with us. He will also be a moderator for 27th of November. And finally, in this session, we have Hughes Becquart, from the European Commission of the Creative Europe program. Thank you, Hughes, for being with us. And he will talk, he will tell us about new opportunities in the Creative Europe program for all the startups and also teams who have good ideas and innovative ideas for cultural heritage. So let's start, and I give the word to Massimo Clemente, the director.
Thanks, Antonia. Good morning to all of you. I'm pleased to open these 3 days of work. And first of all, welcome to Mrs. Valeria Fascione, Deputy for Innovation of the Campania region, that is particularly appreciated in our research institute, where the main focus is innovation. And a special welcome to Mr. Ugo Guarnacci, Project Advisor of the European Commission. In my opinion, his cultural versatility has been very important. He has been a reference point for the CLIC team and for all the people that participate in the framework of the Executive Agency for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. I would like to thank my colleague and friend Luigi Fusco Girard, that is a coordinator, and he promoted the CLIC project several years ago. I want to thank Antonia Gravagnuolo as co-coordinator and all the CLIC team at the IRIS. And in particular, I want to thank my friend Alfonso Morvillo, that as a past director launched the CLIC project several years ago. So for me, it's a pleasure to open the final phase of the CLIC startup competition. May the best one win. Good game, GG.
Thank you very much, Massimo. You see that we also have a kind of poll, so please answer to this and we will see which are the results. I am pleased to give the word to Valeria Fascione of the Campania region.
Thank you, Antonia, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this final moments of CLIC startup competition that involved so many new companies and ideas, partners and countries. Congratulations for your number and for the results of your project. I want to greet the speakers of my panel. First of all, the director of the CNR, Massimo Clemente, and Professor Luigi Fusco Girard, Ugo Guarnacci from EASME, and Hughes Becquart, representative of the European Commission. Circular economy and cultural heritage are two central themes in the development strategy of Campania region. Combining these two themes have been very ambitious, and I congratulate you on your innovative vision that you brought forward 3 years ago to identify a model to be applied to cities and to cultural heritage. Too often, in fact, architectural and cultural assets are subjected to constraints that produce two effects: dissuaded private investment and prevent citizens from experiencing them. In this way, protection becomes only a burden for the community without bringing benefits of development and dissemination of beauty. Rethinking the management of cultural heritage from a circular perspective allow us to enhance memory and our identity, while managing to contribute to the creation of new businesses with an innovative business model linked to cultural heritage. The great challenge is to put cultural heritage into a productive system. Campania is the Italian region that invests the most in the protection and enhancement of cultural assets and activities, and which records the highest increase in visitors to state museums. Culture represents one of Campania's flagship programs in which innovation and digital play a fundamental role by encouraging the inclusive use of artistic and cultural heritage and the development of innovative and interoperable processes and products in a logic of centrality of smart communities. I think of what we have achieved in Campania with the digital ecosystem of culture. It's a platform, an open platform, the first digital ecosystem for cultural heritage created in Italy. Campania Regis finances it with 28 million euro, a unique experiment in our country that brings together in a single platform the great cultural heritage linked to the archaeological and archival sectors, bibliographic, cinematographic, musical, historical, artistic, and theatrical. With this project, in fact, we realized the first museum with control of environmental, physical, and visitor frequency parameters for the safety of the works of art in the protection objective, and the first Italian portal for cultural heritage with 360-degree immersive technology in the direction of enhancement of cultural heritage. The number of the project are very, very impressive, and you can try and visit the platform to look what is contained in it. During 2020, the networking of all the regional documentary and archival heritage will be completed, an exceptional resource for industrial and cultural applications, available to scholars, cultural operators, startups, and of course, innovators. Campania aims to be a region of excellence and the recipient of a unique cultural primacy in Italy to offer to the new generation a truly exceptional heritage of knowledge. And as my President De Luca, has also repeatedly pointed out, culture, research, innovation, education, health, and the environment are priorities for our government action. So I want to conclude just to say, have a good luck for all the new entrepreneurs and the projects. You have 2 days of fully work, and it will be a very enthusiasmatic for all of us to follow your jobs. Thank you very much for your invitation.
Thank you very much, Valeria, for this introduction and for the bringing here also Campania region, which is a strategic partner for the competition and also patronage for this activity. So let me put the video of the competition just before the speech of Luigi Fusco Girard.
Can I start? Perhaps?
Yes, 1 second, we look at the video and then you are... Thank you very much. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and Luigi Fusco Girard, please.
Yes, thank you very much for this invitation. Thank you very much to all you to be with us. I would like only to enlighten some characteristics of the CLIC project. The CLIC project is characterized by this idea that the circular economy model can be implemented in the space, in the territory, in our city through the reuse of cultural heritage. So the circular model is our general framework, but which tools? We need tools for transforming principles, ideas, concepts into facts, into actions. Some tools are institutional, some other are economic, and some other are technological. I really hope that this startup competition can help us in this direction. So you see, the CLIC approach is characterized by this idea that it's possible to give the new life to old assets, not to dead assets, transforming them into a living system that should be managed as a living organism. But we need absolutely new technologies. New technologies are not only ICT, digital one, and so on. Some of these technology we also, some of them we have already, but some other we have not. And this is also a reason why I hope that this competition can help all of us to improve better the transformation of our ideas into facts, into concrete initiatives. Can I show another image, please? This is an example in Amsterdam, a very, very known example in Amsterdam. The characteristic of this example is the capacity to transform the idea of a better metabolism in the use of a site into a living system through technologies. I think very much, and I hope very much, that this is a good initiative to improve our research work. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Fusco Girard. I give the word to Ugo Guarnacci.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much indeed to Antonia, all the CLIC team, in particular to Professor Massimo Clemente and Fusco Girard for this invitation. I'm a proud project advisor from the Executive Agency of the European Commission for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, EASME, in particular because at EASME we managed several EU-funded programs. I am in charge for projects funded under Horizon 2020, where we stress the role of research and innovation. And I think today we are actually here celebrating not only the role of EU R&I funded projects, but also the roles of startups, SMEs, and all the local actors that actually are able to make a tangible impact at territorial level. So I don't want to spend too much word because you will have an amazing program and see how the startups who have been selected throughout the competition are indeed creating an added value from our perspective, from an Horizon 2020 funded program. I would like to highlight what the Professor Fusco Girard just said, how important it is for us to underline how cultural heritage can be also a productive factor. So not only an element to preserve and protect, but also an element to actually enhance sustainable urban development. And I think you will find several examples of these startups throughout the day, and also on the 27th of November, on Friday. Stay tuned, because we will have also a great example of startups coming from all over the world, with the dialogue with Mundano, who is a Brazilian activist and artist. So without any further ado, I would like also to thank my colleague Hughes Becquart, who actually is Policy Officer at DG, Director General for Education and Culture. He is responsible for the program, the EU-funded program called Creative Europe. Why is it important that Hughes is also today with us? Because we often talk about synergies and clustering activity across EU-funded programs. And I think the project CLIC is a clear example on how to connect culture from a research and innovation perspective within the activities that Hughes is overseeing under education and culture. So without any further ado, Hughes, the floor is yours. And thank you to everyone and to the huge interest that this competition has had, starting from the great video.
Hugh, we don't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Of course, yeah. So good good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ugo, for the great introduction. It is indeed the spirit in which we do collaborate, not only with you, but with the whole CLIC team. So thank you very much for having me. And actually this synergy and integrated approach was actually the approach of the European Year of Cultural Heritage back in 2019, when we started collaboration. And those Horizon 2020 projects you mentioned are actually among the follow-up actions of the year in the so-called European Framework for Action in Cultural Heritage. So it's great to see the project evolve and delivering such brilliant ideas. So I will just share with you a few words on the creative program, but also maybe a few policy insights actually on the work plan for culture, and also maybe a few words on the new European Bauhaus you may have heard of. So first of all, Creative Europe is ending in its current form. You may have heard that actually we lately got a major budget increase, so hopefully we'll have like 2.2 billion euros for the next programming period, so from next year on. For those who don't know, Creative Europe actually is the main EU program dedicated to the support of cultural and creative sectors. It covers obviously all the member states, but also all the Western Balkan countries and some countries from the Eastern Partnership, like Ukraine, Georgia, and even from the Southern Partnership, like Tunisia, just to give you the whole picture. So what will be new in the next program, which is still being negotiated, and you know that also the financial package is still on hold because we need unanimity on this, so it may only start in early next year. But I think the main action that could be of interest to you, actually as a follow-up of this startup competition, is the cooperation, the cultural cooperation projects. So these projects have two main objectives. The first one is actually to support the transnational creation and circulation of European cultural works. And the second one, which is more business oriented, is to actually reinforce the capacity of cultural and creative sectors to nurture talent, to innovate, like you do today, and to generate jobs. Besides those two overarching objectives, I would say there's actually if you apply with a project, you will need to address one of the following priorities, which are audience development and engagement, social inclusion, environment, which so it means greener and more circular practices in the cultural and creative sectors, new technologies, and finally the international dimension, international cooperation. So these projects actually will be broken down in different strands. But the minimum will be to have like 3 partners from 3 different member states to be able to apply, but there will be different consortium and budget levels according to your needs. So hopefully maybe some of the winners will find partners and will want to further develop their ideas. All the more as actually, besides the funding program, we of course also have a number of policies and policy developments that are related to adaptive use and cultural heritage in general. So I would like to mention 2 very quickly. The first one is actually what we call the council work plan for culture, which is our policy framework, if you wish, for every 4 years. As you may know, actually culture is mainly a national competence. So we are there to actually support and enhance, coordinate actions by member states. So we've developed what we call an open method of coordination with member states. And in this context, we've identified a number of priorities, and obviously cultural heritage is one of them. It's been for actually quite some time already, but there are new developments. Actually, maybe one which is already, so we do actually set up expert groups with member states to exchange good practice and also develop policy recommendations. And for the moment, we have such a group actually on what is called high quality architecture and built environment for everyone, which says it all already in the title. So it's about quality, obviously, but not only of buildings, built environment. So it includes, it's a holistic approach, including heritage, of course, and for everyone. So including, you know, citizens' participation and social inclusion. So this is one which is already underway. And next year, there will be another one, for instance, on how to reinforce the resilience of cultural heritage to climate change, but also how actually cultural heritage can contribute, you know, to fight climate change. So as Ugo said very well, I mean, heritage should not be considered only as an obstacle or constraint, but as an opportunity. And this is what we've been trying to develop so far. Last point, maybe on the new European Bauhaus, you may have heard of and wonder what it is or what it will be. So this is very closely linked to the Green Deal, and this new initiative, I mean, should in a way bring the Green Deal to life in a more attractive, innovative, and also human-centered way. And so the idea would be to develop a number of projects at the, you know, at the crossroads between science and technology on one side and arts and culture on the other side. And obviously, I mean, this covers the whole built environment, including heritage and its transformation, its adaptive reuse. And this is actually already reflected in the Renovation Wave, which is a major policy document adopted as part of the Green Deal package, and which aims at transforming the EU building stock, including heritage building, but in a sustainable and qualitative way. So I think that we are, you know, how can I say, we are mainstreaming actually the heritage concerns and how actually its adaptive reuse can contribute to the circular economy, to the Green Deal, and hopefully to the new European Bauhaus, which will actually start by a major co-design or co-creation phase. So I have no doubt that a project such as CLIC has a lot to contribute and to say, and we will involve you in due time with the Joint Research Center who is leading on this. So just to recap, we have like two tracks, two legs, you know, the funding program, in which hopefully you can get support. So the next call should be published in spring next year. And by the way, I forgot to mention that there will be also a sort of sectorial approach. So with more dedicated actions, including in the field of heritage and architecture. So you have the general strand and the more specific one. And then the policy developments I've mentioned. So all going into the same direction and supporting the value and the role of cultural heritage, not only for its intrinsic cultural values, but also for its contribution to sustainable development and the circular economy. So we will need also your input for the new European Bauhaus. So I wish you good luck for the competition. Have 2 great days, and hopefully see you next year in the Creative Europe program. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Hugh. And it is clear that there are quite interesting opportunities for the startups participating today, but also for all those who applied and who have very good ideas, I need to say, regarding how cultural heritage can really become a driver of sustainable growth, urban regeneration, environmental and ecological regeneration, and so on. So I thank Hugh, and I thank also the previous speaker, Professor Luigi Fusco Girard, who gave really an overview of how CLIC can bring this innovation. And starting, I would link with these slides of before, starting with this concept of CLIC. I would open the session 1 with the moderator, Ruba Saleh. Before doing this, I would just share the results of the poll that we had before. So 73 people answered, but we are now many more. So we are more than 120. in this moment. So you see that most people are from Southern Europe, and I suppose many are from Italy, since this project has been launched in Italy, but it has really involved startups and organizations all over the world. It's impressive, the participation. And the sector of work, we have many research and academia, but also enterprises, public institutions, professionals, and freelance. So really a nice distribution of our participants today. And where are you now? Most of us are at home, so it's a COVID effect, but some of us still are in the office, so congratulations to all that still manage to go to office, but from home we are almost used now to work. So let me introduce Ruba, Saleh, the moderator of these 3 sessions. Ruba, are you with us? Yes.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Actually, it's maybe better to say only hello because we have people connecting from different time zones. I'm very pleased to be here today to moderate the 3 sessions. We had a lot of food for thought from our inspiring keynote speakers before. And actually, there's a wide breadth of opportunities to all our participants today. So good luck to everyone. We're starting with session 1, which is about circular tourism, as Antonia anticipated. And actually, she already talked you through the housekeeping procedures. So every startup needs to keep the time. Everyone has 4 minutes. I will be notifying you 1 minute ahead before the end of your time. And after the presentations of the 5 startups, I will also introduce the keynote speakers. We have with us today Daphne Tsevrini from Clio Muse Tours from Greece. Hello. We have Jan Dolezal from SmartGuide from the Czech Republic. And we have Melina Elena Stelianu from ArteMedica Tourism HubLab from Italy, Chiara Mura, a terraced soundscape from Italy, and Stefan Lazic, TouRegeneration from Italy. So I would like to start with Clio Muse Tours. Daphne, the floor is yours and you have 4 minutes. Please, you can activate your mic.
Hello, can you all hear me? Great. So I'm Daphne. I'm co-founder and CFO of Clio Muse Tours. I'm going to say a few words about Clio Muse and then we're going to change the slide to the value proposition of the circular tourism. Okay, so what we do in Clio Muse is that we have a platform, a software as a service platform that creates and distributes self-guided tours, digital tours. We have audio tours and virtual tours. So those tours are created through cultural tourism professionals. And through those cultural tourism professionals, we can create tours all over the world. And we can distribute them through the biggest online travel agencies right now globally. Before that, please, let's go to the previous slide. Great. So through those tours, we do highlight the importance and cross correlation between cultural and environmental content. We use short and interesting stories that can engage better the travelers and whomever is accessing those tours. We support awareness raising, education, engagement, and observation because through our tours, we always take care of content to be high quality and very meaningful. So other than that, Clio Muse enables professionals to create those digital tours. And professionals can monetize on their knowledge by transforming to a market-ready product, which can be built around developed areas, leading to inclusive economic growth. So that's how we're circular. Let's move on to the next slide. Thank you. So what is the market potential for that? So we've been in the industry of tourism since 2016. We are a company since 2014, and we've already raised 500K in VC funding, but also 360K through Horizon 2020 products, because we have, this way we have funded our R&D, basically innovation. So what the market potential is that tourism professionals already are looking for the next big thing in travel. So these are the money raised from big tourism OTAs and marketplaces for tourism activities, and investors are looking for the next big thing. So what we do, let's change the slide, is that we have already managed to create a circular economy through our platform. We were always supporters of sustainable tourism, and that's why we have also won a great competition by Booking.com, which was about sustainability, inclusive growth, and basically.
You have 1 minute.
Great. So I'm gonna wrap this up. So why we won is because we, through our platform, we do enable local communities to create tours that combine both mainstream content, highlights, you know, top attractions from big cities, but also more urban areas that can have troubled pasts, maybe. So in this way, travelers get to know everything about the city, not only, you know, the things that we already know of, you know, the top attractions. So we distribute those tours that include both mainstream and more local content through the biggest online travel agencies to reach the traveler. And in this way, we build a strong relationship with travelers. We have multiple users in the platform, and they can access multiple kinds of tours. And we create this flourishing relationship between local communities, big companies like those that you see on the screen, and travelers. So we're already a team of 13 people that we have skills in tech, cultural content, business development, customer care. We do need...
Daphna, please conclude.
Yes. So that's all I wanted to say. I hope all companies can go ahead with sustainable tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much for respecting the time. I'm very sorry for the strict timing, and I would like to move to our next speaker. So Jan from SmartGuide, the floor is yours. Please activate your microphone.
Hi everyone, I'm Jan, the founder of SmartGuide, which is a platform digitizing travel guides that enables safe tourism recovery. So if you can please go next. Oh, there is not the animation. Oh, okay, so you, can I share my screen, because then we lose half of the slides, the animation, the story? Or do you have it there in the PowerPoint? Can you please do that? Because I think in the, you converted just to PDF, which lost the slides, the animation.
Yes, I confirm. We converted in PDF because it was easier to share, but we are taking also your slides in a PPT form.
Can you share the PPT, please?
Yes, you can continue in any case.
Okay. So overcrowding has always been really annoying, but COVID-19 made it completely unacceptable, right? Like nobody wants to mingle with crowds of tourists in a tour group anymore, let alone use an unhygienic audio guide. So tourist destinations are really struggling and fail miserably developing own apps. So the solution is SmartGuide. Yeah, you can go next, next, next. Yeah, okay, next. Perfect, thank you. So the solution is SmartGuide. The SmartGuide app turns your phone into an engaging and safe personal guide. It guides you independently outside of the crowds like a live guide, and tells you interesting stories about the places you visit. Next, please. So you can create your own guide literally in a couple of hours using our content management system. Next. So our platform makes it orders of magnitude cheaper and faster for destinations to digitize guides, and without any maintenance headaches. So that's why partners from many UNESCO sites to Singapore to the whole country of Kyrgyzstan use SmartGuide as their official guide app. Next, please. So for example, we helped the Prague city tourism. So by telling tourists interesting stories about less visited places, we managed to get tourists spend 30% of their time outside of the crowded city center, where they would normally not go. So that reduces the spread of COVID now and increases the capacity of the destination in the future. And in a year, we recorded 700,000 geolocated activities of tourists. So we know exactly where different tourists go and where they spend time, which now allows much smarter destination management. Next, please. So these B2B partners not only pay us for our service, but they also promote smart guides to their visitors, which brings traffic on the platform. And we keep such users and guide them in over 400 destinations. That's why we can grow really fast. Next, please. As a guide, we are uniquely positioned to facilitate the access to online travel booking, which will be worth over 2 trillion by 2025. Next, please. COVID.
You have 1 minute, Jan.
Yes, that's okay. If you can go next, please. So COVID made our proposition even stronger. So SmartGuide has grown 8-fold in a year, and we have now 250,000 users and won many awards. Next, please. We have top developers in-house, experienced entrepreneurs, and over 100 years of combined travel experience on the team. And I have a background in machine learning, Harvard MBA, and 10 years experience digitizing businesses with McKinsey. Next, please. So now travel is undergoing a huge digital transformation due to COVID, and we are really uniquely positioned to capture this opportunity. So we are building the future of sustainable tourism, and we invite all of you to join in. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Jan, for respecting your 4 minutes. And I would like to invite Melina from ArteMedica Tourism HubLab to take the floor. Melina?
Yes, buongiorno. Just to say that I was not laughing about the content before, but about the number of slides. So just to make that clear. So I will try to keep the 4 minutes. And the sharing of the, okay. So I'm Melina, and I'm the project concept and coordinator, and I have a great team behind me, and I will introduce them on the last slide. And as you see now, our title is quite long. No, please go back to the title, because in Latin, if I remember correctly, one said like nomen est omen. So our title is long and important because it's a HubLab. We are located in southern Italy, just to locate also the project. It's the area of Acea. It's ancient Velia Elea, so it's Magna Grecia 2,500 years ago, more or less. So this heritage, we would like to connect it to the future. And that's why we have the HubLab approach, which means like it will be like sun rays, to have scalability as a project, to go from the south of Italy also to other parts, and lab to underline the practical approach we want to have, and all this for the circular tourism approach. And there we have the ArteMedica, like a holistic approach for the medical part of well-being, and this in a physical and mental part. So we can go on to the next one, please. So for us, it's very, very important to transform brain drain to brain gain, because we speak about circular values, and it's important to have this circularity in the project, and to relate the actual situation to the future in terms of building new job opportunities, and all this in a form of a cluster. And what do we understand as a cluster? It's to bring all the initiatives that exist already on the territory together to build a network that is embraced by different European programs, and also by funding opportunities, and all this to bring us into a situation that we can take advantage of difficult situations and transform them into opportunities for the future. And we see that the common strategy for local sustainable development is sometimes difficult to find, and so we would bring this resources of the territory together, and to link the tangible heritage together with the non-tangible heritage, which is in our case the Eleatic School of Philosophy and the Mediterranean diet. Next, please.
You have 1 minute, Melina.
Yes, the market potential is for us on a microeconomic and on a macroeconomic basis. This means like we are business to business and also business to client. And it's very important to create a cultural heritage responsibility on the territory. And when everybody will be more feel responsible of the community and the stakeholders, they will also be more protective for the environment. And then next, please. And this is like I had a dream of a great project team, and here we are. It's multidisciplinary, and this is the time going over. The 4 minutes are over. Just to say thank you to the great team, and we are covering the different disciplines that are international.
Thank you very much, Melina, for your presentation. I would like to invite Chiara Mura from Terraced Soundscape to start her presentation.
I'm here. Hello to everyone. I'm Chiara. I'm the co-founder of the project Terraced Soundscape. And the next one. In the first pictures, you can see one of the 5 neglected buildings of Contrada Casarette, the rural and cultural heritage of Valbrenta we would like to recover. Once there lived around 90 people that collaborated for the self-subsistence. Through its reconstruction, we support the sustainable development and the requalification of the valley. As we can see from the diagram, the requalification of this rural heritage consists of several steps. The reconstruction of terracings and contrada, the realization of a teaching farm and the workshops, the organization of cultural events addressed to the local community and to visitors. Then waste from cultivation will be used for the creation of compost, and the remaining materials are addressed to artistic installations. The next one, please. Our project is addressed to the market of social and ecological farm and is based on an idea of collaboration among farmers. The system we want to recreate is optimal for the cultivation of saffron, for example, since it requires a production line in order to satisfy the need of manpower and of space. A second instance is represented by the wheat cultivation. We support the natural selection and the crossbreeding of all the varieties able to resist in Valbrenta. The second field concern is about dry walls for terracing. They are a valid substitute for cement and endorse the environmental development. Since they belong to the history of Valbrenta, their valorization contribute to the recovery and the conservation of the social and cultural heritage of the valley. The terracings have two merits: to limit the hydrological risk and to permit the cultivation in Valbrenta, considering its narrow and steep conformation. In Casarette will be then created a branch of the Italian School of Dry Stone. In this way, it will be supported the education of artisans. Since we are just at the beginning, we calculated the annual revenue of the project to around 70,000 euros. The goal is to increase the annual revenue over the years. The starting costs are estimated around
I think we lost Chiara.
Yeah.
Chiara, are you still there?
We can show the last slide, perhaps.
Okay. She's still...
It's just the team. I think we really have lost Chiara, but...
Okay, shall we move to the next startup, and maybe if Chiara comes back, we can give her 1 minute to present the team? Yeah? Okay. So, Stefan, the floor is yours. You can present TouRegeneration.
Sorry, I've lost the connection.
Okay, Chiara, you have 1 minute to present your team.
Okay. We are an informal team of 3 women and 1 man, an anthropologist, an event planner, a farmer, and a sound technician. From the project, we expect to create a net among ecological farms existed in the valley, create a circuit able to engage schools, universities, and associations, expand the production in order to support the sale and the distribution. For this support, it needs the education of different business roles, such as farmers, beekeepers, sellers, dry stone artisans, artists, and musicians. And we want to organize farming and local market and to interact with local restaurants by providing them with product. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chiara, and thank you for keeping the nerves after the interruption of your presentation. Now I would like to give the floor to Stefan. Stefan, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ruba. I believe you hear me now. Thank you for this introduction. I will just briefly now present our proposal to regeneration. Next slide, please. So our idea is based on a long existing challenge which exists in the central Italian Apennines and some other regions of Italy, but as well in some other countries. It is the process of constant depopulation in which local population leaves these areas, and some villages or even whole towns are abandoned while population moves to urban settlements. We want to tackle this issue by developing tourism activity, which as a consequence of this depopulation process is missing from these areas, and the assets of these areas such as cultural heritage and landscape are not valorized as they could be. Our idea wants to provide formative courses and capacity building processes to local actors who will be then able to develop tourism activity which corresponds to the needs of this local territory under the conditions which suit the best this local population. It is the idea to develop tourism to accompany main economic activities such as agriculture or artisanal production, and to inspire a ripple effect on other economic activities which can be developed through tourism. At the same time, this tourism activity takes into consideration all 3 pillars of sustainability, namely social, environmental, and economic, while at the same time approaches to circular processes through reuse, revalorization, and refurbishment of cultural heritage and abandoned buildings. Next slide, please. On the current market, there are various solutions who deal with marketing, promotion, or branding of rural tourism or these rural areas, which as well comes as a result of this pandemic, which saw a huge increase of demand for outdoor tourism activities. However, we want to go a step further and firstly to work on development of tourism offer experiences which correspond to local population, and then to move and dedicate to marketing or promotion. These formative courses or these capacity building processes are as well main revenue streams for our model. We are aiming predominantly long-term courses, but as well as a second important revenue stream, we aim for tailor-made courses dedicated to particular social groups or geographical areas. Moreover, due to the current pandemic, we are well aware that we need to develop alternative solutions such as online platform for education, where we will be able to deliver all these
You have
courses.
1 minute.
At the same time, these courses are main costs of us, namely organization of these in-person activities such as space rent, transport, or material, or online platform where we will need to tackle the issue of softwares and use of technological tools. Next slide, please. We have a team with broad and huge experience in the topics which we want to cover, namely project development, project management, application of sustainable practices in tourism sector, development of community-based or rural reason. What we do not have, or we hope to settle with this call, is assistance with a detailed economic model, financial support for these activities, and enhanced collaboration with institutions and public bodies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for respecting the time. The 5 startups have presented their ideas. I'm not going to provide any qualitative comment because you can see the poll. You can now vote for them. And while providing you some time to vote, I would like to present our first key speaker. Good morning to Mr. Gianpiero Lotito from Facility Life. Facility Life is a partner of the CLIC project, and Gianpiero Lotito is the CEO and founder of Facility Life. He's an expert technologist with an extensive career in pioneering digital technologies. Gianpiero, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My time is 10 minutes or less?
Your time is 10 minutes, and I will be notifying you 1 minute before the end.
Okay, thank you very much. But first of all, thanks for this invitation, because I am here with 2 different hats as partner, technology partner of the CLIC project, but also as a SEMED platform, Startup Europe Mediterranean. We are partner of this event. So the collaboration
Gianpiero?
with the see?
I think we lost Gianpiero.
Sorry, do you hear me? Probably it's better that you switch off the videos all, because in Pavia we have some problems with the connection, because we are in a strong lockdown here in the red zone. Sorry for this. The second hat is the SEMED hat, because we are partner of this event. It is very interesting, the topic of this event and of the project, because it is one of the way to rethink the world. And we can easily rethink the world when we have a great discontinuity, a big discontinuity. And the COVID is one of the biggest discontinuity that we have in our history, for sure, in the last century, probably with the Second World War. So there is the opportunity to rethink the world, and there is the opportunity to rethink the way to manage information, to approach some industries also, tourism, cultural tourism, and culture. We had 3 different segments before in the analog world, and now they are going to be overlapped more and more and more. And technology will give an impulse to overlap these worlds. Think to your way to organize a vacation, a travel, a trip 2-3 years ago. Many different platforms, many different approaches. One is for hotel, one is for restaurant, one is for ticket, one is for events, the description events, one to understand museums and other assets of the city that you are going to visit. This probably will be changed. We as Facility Live will deliver in a few weeks one of many, 15 platforms that will be dedicated to many of these topics, and that will be interconnected to give a horizontal experience and horizontal approach, because now the technology must allow you in one session to have all the information about tourism, about cultural tourism, about culture, and about any kind of choose that you need to do when you are organizing a cultural trip, a cultural visit, but also simply touristic visit. So there is the opportunity for Europe to set up different standards, for example, for all these different, not industries, because now culture and tourism probably are going to be a unique industry, and probably we will need to invent new forms also to offer the cultural experience and the touristic experience to the people. We don't know when we will be able to physically go in places as before, but this industry must live. The last summer was a strange summer where the proximity tourism saved many activities, because people went in touristic places, but really near to their home. Many things are happening, and we have, as European technologists, European industries, and as European companies in digital industry to rethink and reset some standards. For this reason, we married with enthusiasm a project like CLIC, that is a very good gym for mind to rethink the approach to reusable assets, but also to create a new kind of experiences that we can have on the web. Standards, European standards are important, and we have a lack of software vendors and hardware vendors in Europe. We have a lack of European standards. So it's important the flourish of many startups and many vertical applications that can give the possibility to have a very large choice of opportunities for a user, but we need also standard platforms, big platforms that can give an approach more horizontal and more organized to these topics. So probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we will observe in this industry a collapse in one big digital industry that will have inside all these 3 old analog industries. Repeat: tourism, cultural tourism, and culture. And this is a very important challenge, also because it's one of the distinctive points of Europe in front of the other blocks. We in Europe have 450 million citizens that are 450 million users, potential users. We are the first importer and the first exporter in the world, and we have all the possibilities to become a leading digital environment in the world. These are the next challenges. So, okay, startups and vertical application, okay, rethinking the world through different point of view, but we need also to build together standards and big projects that can give to the European industries and to the European environment the possibility to lead the digital world. This is the main challenge of the next 5 to 10 years, also in these industries. Thank you so much.
Gianpiero, thank you very much for this inspiring keynote speech, and thank you for emphasizing on the importance of developing together European standards, seeing that 40% of UNESCO World Heritage Sites are placed actually in Europe. I would like now to move to our second keynote speaker, Mr. Giuseppe Provenzano from the Union for the Mediterranean. Mr. Provenzano is an expert of higher education and research division at the Union for the Mediterranean. Mr. Provenzano, yes, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. And first of all, of course, thanks to CLIC Startup Competition, to SEMED for this kind invitation. Since I prepared for a longer slot, I will not be afraid to ask you to go next with my slides and to keep the timing. I hope to give you a kind of different perspective, since it is coming from the international organization, which is based not only in Europe, but in the whole Euro-Mediterranean area, which is the European Union plus the south and the east of the Mediterranean countries. If you can start with the presentation and go directly to the next slide, I would like to introduce a concept which I think is complementary what has been said today, and in a way it's a way of supporting startup creation and entrepreneurship by supporting what we call this nexus between innovation and employability. This is that we see that there is the potential for developing more and innovating more our economies if we support three pillars which are in a way more intertwined than what we think of normally. That is, from one side, the companies, so the startups and the private sector and the business sector. The others, the universities and the research centers, and finally the policymakers, and so the government. Why do we believe that this is one of the points where we should try to work more together? First of all, because we have one of the youngest regions in the world. We have more than 30 million university students, which are currently studying in our universities. We have enrollment that is going through the roof. At the same time, in our region, the more we study, the more we tend to be unemployed. We have 25% of unemployment rates among the graduates, which is higher than non-graduate young people. At the same time, the companies identified, 32% of the companies have identified that the lack of skills, the capacity to build new companies, so to create entrepreneurship, digital skills are a big barrier for getting hired. So we see that there is here a critical point where we should be working more together. Next. As I was mentioning, our region is characterized by higher level in unemployment, both among the youth, especially the young women, and especially among those that have studied more. And we have doubled our population in some areas in the last 20 years. So we see that it's a topic that if we tackle on, we can generate more sustainable growth, and especially if we use it in areas where there is a great sustainability potential, including, of course, tourism, which in the Mediterranean is one of the key. The coast of the Mediterranean double in population every summer. It means that tourism is one of the key for unlocking our sustainable growth. Next. This is why at the Union for the Mediterranean, which is this intergovernmental organization that puts together on an equal footing the north and the south of the Mediterranean, the 42 countries, has started discussing the topic. First of all, during an event, during a ministerial conference in employment and labor in 2019. Next. Where we have gathered ministries of labor, ministries of education, startups, university networks, and we try to see what could have been some way forward. First of all, working more on competences, because transitioning from the study sector to the work sector, to focus more on the needs of the local areas of the territories. What are the job markets? What are the opportunities in this area? Can it be tourist? Yes, in some areas. Then we should develop more the nexus in this field, not make it general. Then enhance the information flows through appropriate platform can also be digital platform where we can have a more fluid exchanges, then to transfer more knowledge from the research, from the PhDs, from the university to business through entrepreneurship, apply this pipeline and exploit more these new economies, the blue economy, the bioeconomy, the circular economy. So apply fully the concept of the green or the new Green Deal in order to spur this new sustainable growth. Next. So we started a new process, which we can go very quickly on. So a new publication will be presented on the 2nd of December, and through a consultatory process where we have interviewed both universities, startups, OECD, the European Commission, and so on. Next. I wanted just to highlight a couple of main takeaway points during our interviews with the main stakeholders. Next. First of all, to work more and to target more in order to develop the capacities, in order to, in a way, make them know each other, higher education sector, research institutions, and the private sector, startups, but also more established companies, in order to foster partnership. Next. But also to target other stakeholders. It was during the initial lockdown, so hospitals came out as one of the main points where there could be more engagement. Next. On the main topics, we asked them, what are the main topics you think there could be more development opportunity concerning employability and innovation? So for employability, they identified industrial internship, digital skills, soft skills, which include communication, awareness, partnership with employers, and entrepreneurship as the main points where there is a great potential. Next. And on innovation entrepreneurship, which is to work more on the innovative research program. I think the CLIC characterized as an innovative research program in such a this foster the development of startups, research funding, incubator, support system, accelerator, supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem and access to funding, and also improving the national policies. Next. So we have, in order to be short, we are going to present in a few days a publication which is seen as a handbook both for the private sector, for the universities and the research centers and the policy makers, in order to discuss some good examples that already exist. We do not need to reinvent the wheel if we want to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem in our region, but we need to highlight what is already existing, what can be joined, and what can be replicated. You are all invited, of course, to this presentation and to download the publication. Next. This is just a brief point of what will be analyzed. But if we go to the next slide, we will see a couple of examples just as a taste. Next. First of all, collaborative doctorates, such as industrial doctorates, so partnership within the private sector and the universities. This is an incredible way of boosting information flows and of encouraging doctorates to become startuppers or also join companies. This is on the basis that only 56% of the PhDs have answered that they would like to stay in academia, which means that we have 44% of people going to research that they would like to contribute to the economy. Next. Another point is working more in depth with the career services, which often tend to be only something which is a way of ticking boxes. If we invest more in this sector, we will have advantages both for the industry, for academia, and for the government. Next. And the final point, which is something which I deem fundamental, is investing in the partnerships for innovation, investing more in open innovation, investing more on this tradition of collaboration between industry, between companies, and academia to the other side. Thank you very much. And if you would like to know more or to be invited or to attend to this, this presentation, of course, here are the coordinates if you want to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Provenzano, for this very informative presentation. And actually, you were highlighting the points that were raised also by Hughes Becquart in terms of capacity, the importance of capacity building. And just to relate to the context of the creative economies, if we take into consideration the Cultural and Creative Cities Monitor, this is an invitation for us to work a lot on the job creation and capacity building, because these are specific indicators for our cities to become more competitive at the European scale and at the international scale. So thank you very much again. And now we would like to show you the results of the polls. I would like to inform our 5 startuppers not to worry, because these votes are just to test the perceptions of our attendees. So just to understand their feelings and opinions, but these votes will not influence your final mark. So I think you're all looking forward for a couple of minutes break. So it's 11:16 now. Let's meet again at Antonia 11:18.
Yes, we will be very precise on this. Just we have a break for take a coffee and for refresh ourselves.
Okay, see you in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Ruba, so much. Thank you to all speakers.
Okay, so welcome back again to Startup Competition, and we're launching now our second session, which is about the circular cities. We have 5 startups presenting, and then we will have 2 great keynote speakers, which I will present later on. The 5 startups are Taste of Terraces from Italy and will be represented by Cornelia Kramazal. The second one is G Cement from Egypt and will be presented by Amr Said Shalan. The third is Nice Visions from Slovakia and will be presented by Igor Zashek. The fourth is Green Mule from Italy and will be presented by Giulia Buccino. And the fifth is The Dough Makers from Italy and will be presented by Enrico Danzi. I would like to invite Cornelia to present Taste of Terraces. Cornelia, you have 4 minutes. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cornelia, and welcome to the Taste of Terraces, and welcome to the Amalfi Coast. The next slide, please. Can I have the next slide, please?
Yes, sorry, there is a technical issue. Martina, could you just double check about the slides, because we don't see now the slides of the second session, please.
Okay, one moment. Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Cornelia, and welcome to the Taste of Terraces and welcome to the Amalfi Coast. On Amalfi Coast, this is where I will start the story. In the middle of the terraces where we live, in the middle of this amazing territory and very beautiful landscape that is also very full of patrimony, full of cultural patrimony and natural patrimony and biodiversity. It is maintained by the farmers and the families, by everyone who cultivates the terraces. And this is done by a lot of manual work, and it depends very much on the people who live there and who cultivate it. And if this is not happening, terraces would be abandoned and patrimony would be lost. And having said this, we do have another advantage. We do have a big passion for food and food products, through generations, we have a huge variety of traditional products, of ancient varieties, and of specific products. And this is what we want to do in the laboratory for the Taste from the Terraces. We want to create an artisanal laboratory for experimental productions to connect the lovers of Italian food to this patrimony. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, so which market are we talking about? And here I want to say we do already have a proof of concept, that is the Rifiascone tomato project. And just to give you some impressions about it, the Rifiascone is a recovered heritage variety from the Amalfi Coast. And we started the project in 2014 with a crowdfunding. We've been working with partner families together, with over 20 partner families in the last years. We've been working together with the CLIO of Ponte Cagnano for the seed analysis and the scientific background. And we delivered already to an international market. And in 2020, we delivered more than 10,000 kilos of products. And why do customers appreciate it? Because it's a high quality product, because it reestablishes a producer-consumer connection. It's a unique product. It has positive eco-social impact. And it is made in Italy, which is a growing market in the food sector. And then also the name of the Amalfi Coast does help when talking to customers. When I say we, who are we? Can I continue to the next slide, please? Okay. So when I say we, who are we? We are a core team of 4. We are from the Amalfi Coast, so we are from this area. We know this territory very well. We do bring different experiences, and we already have worked together for more than 3 years. And like I said, also on the Rifiascone project. And so we definitely are determined to keep working on bringing this territory forward. Now what's next? Now we want to go one step further. And this is also why we're here. We want to start an experimental artisanal laboratory, and we want to go online. And for this, we will need—
You have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. And for this, we will need investment of around 120,000 euros. And we want to launch in the next 6 months with the laboratory. We want to introduce more products. We want to raise our impact. We want to raise the area of terraces that are in cultivation. And we want to raise the number of partner families and the positive social impact that we can have. And we want to raise the number of varieties that are valorized on this territory. So we also want to do something for the biodiversity. So we do want to take our part in taking care of this territory. And we also want to bring the taste from the terraces to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cornelia, for respecting the time. I would like to invite Amr from G Cement to take the floor. Amr?
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Amr, we can hear you. Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello, everyone. I'm Amr Shalan, CEO and co-founder of G Cement. Next slide, please. Greenhouse gases have been heading to all governments and environmental specialists in the world. The cement industry alone contributes to 40% of greenhouse gas emissions in Egypt. The supply chain is very complex and dependent on limited resources. On the other hand, Egypt produces 5.4 million tons of plastic waste every year, 65% of which are either burned or buried in landfills. Cement industry and the plastic waste are major sources of pollution to the environment. We keep thinking how we can solve both problems with one solution. By developing the state-of-the-art manufacturing process, G Cement converts plastic waste into eco-friendly building materials. Our process is 100% clean and scalable without using cement as a main ingredient. Also, our products have better specification than cement-based building material. With our solution, no more dumping of plastic waste, no more burning of plastic waste, and no more burning of fossil fuels to produce cement-based building materials. A strong tie in the plastic circular economy, and we also close the loop in the complex and linear building materials economy. Next slide, please. The Egyptian market size for cement tiles is more than 600 million euros, and it's growing 3% every year. We are targeting real estate developers, contractors, and engineering design offices. We are competing with manufacturers of cement-based building materials. The market in Egypt is highly fragmented, which makes an easier market penetration for us. However, we have multiple competitive advantages. Our products are cheaper, have better specifications such as water resistance and heat resistance, bacterial and microbial resistant, and they are more durable. And most importantly, they are environmentally friendly. These features are in alignment with many developers in Egypt in building green communities using green building materials. We have developed the technology. We have built a mini factory in Egypt. G Cement has already gained a good traction. We have pre-orders with value of 15,000 euro per month. We are expecting revenue of 200,000 euros in our first year with an annual growth of 40%. Due to our relatively low cost, the net profit margin is 25% and is subjected to increase with further optimizations. G Cement's strategy for growth has two pillars. The first one is more automation of the production process, which will result in better efficiency, less time, and less costs. Our second main important pillar is expansion to the European market to participate in solving the global plastic challenge. Next slide, please.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, great. Our team has a unique combination of experience, knowledge, and dedication to the startup. I'm Amr Shalan, CEO, and Khaled, the CTO. We have a diverse experience in process engineering, startup management, and waste recycling industry. We are currently raising a seed round of 100,000 euros. We will appreciate your support in funding, mentorship, and networking. And most importantly, we would like to partner with plastic waste recycling companies in Europe to enable more collaboration to solve a global challenge like plastic waste challenge. With G Cement, building sustainable communities is a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amr, for your presentation. I would like to give the floor now to Igor from Nice Visions. Igor?
Good morning. Hello. I'm Igor Žáček. I'm co-founder of Nice Visions. And Nice Visions is a Slovak company which is integrating renewable energy sources to the urban environment. And today I would like to showcase you our product, solar tiles. So next slide, please. Yes, in order to comply with European decarbonization plan, a majority of European buildings needs to be upgraded. And half of those buildings are older than 50 years. Those buildings require a specific approach to renovation, especially to preserve their historical value. Solar energy production appears to be an ideal solution for European cities. Unfortunately, current generation of solar panels is not mature enough for this kind of application, especially in our cities where there is a high demand for visual quality and seamless integration into the buildings. Therefore, we have developed solar tiles. It is a roof and facade system producing electric energy, and they are specially designed for this kind of areas where design and visual appearance are equally important as energy production. I'm really talking about city centers and historical buildings. And in this product, we are merging aesthetics of ceramic tiles with energy production of the solar panels. On the top of that, tiles are designed to be repairable and recyclable according to contemporary standards and can be brought back to the material flow. And most importantly, they are designed in a way that they minimize impact on a historical building. With tiles, we are entering building, or next slide, please. We are entering building iterated photovoltaics market, which is expected to grow quite dramatically. Projected growth is 23% in upcoming years until 2027. This market is quite sizable with 54 billion euros globally, but with solar tiles on our target markets in Europe, we are aiming at roughly $750 million. Competition is divided into two principal groups. First group is using standardized solar panels, essentially one size fits all in order to bring the price down, but they are sacrificing appearance and building integration. In simple words, they're really ugly. And the second group is making custom-made products for each building specifically. And but a disadvantage of this approach is that they have relatively high price, but they look amazing and they are perfectly integrated. And solar tiles are essentially bringing best of both worlds. They are mass-produced, and this fact is keeping the price relatively low, but their appearance is customizable. And as there is a quite long delay between customer acquisition and finishing the project, we estimate that we will finish our first building somewhere in the year 2022, and we will grow our business from that time on. We are counting on
1 minute.
Okay, we are counting on 100%. On quite sizable growth. Yeah, we are a well-rounded team, which is together more than next slide, please. We are a rounded team, which is together more than 7 years, and we have already managed to pull one successful hardware startup before. Our product, our development of our product is finished. We have prepared manufacturing, and we are ready for our first commercial customer. There, we are looking for first paying customer, which help us to build first large-scale installation, especially in a historical context. And that will help us to scale up production and bring the price down. On the top of that, we are looking for partners in the Mediterranean market, which will help us to understand the local conditions. To sum it up, we are giving new life to the buildings without ruining their heritage character. And we are looking for partners who can help us grow our business and our vision to make European cities carbon-free. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Igor, for your presentation. I would like now to give the floor to Julia from Green Mule. Julia, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, and good morning to the presentation of the Green Mule, a project aimed at regenerating and implementing an interactive itinerary through the ancient mountain path of the Mulattiere, allowing the remaining heritage to tell its invaluable story. Okay. Mulattiere in the past were a key trade route able to connect numerous villages of the upper part of the Amalfi Coast. But nowadays, its trails are in a state of semi-abandonment and prone to hydrological instability. The site interested by the project, as you can see on the slide, is part of a longer footpath already outlined, which is characterized by impervious trails and invasive vegetation. These characteristics affect the overall practicability. Anyhow, the predisposition of local authorities and inhabitants to accepting and implementing structural changes easily turns the weaknesses into strength. For example, the numerous abandoned buildings can be brought back to their original use for educational purposes, and the biodiversity preserved with mapping actions and the installation of descriptive signs. In addition, this kind of operation financed by privates for touristic purposes are very popular in the Amalfi Coast area and contributes to put the territory in safety against landslides. Next. The business potential of our service is considerable since it is part of a well-established but not saturated market in the Amalfi Coast touristic offer, and could become an example of an easily reproducible and eco-sustainable model of enhancement and awareness of our cultural and environmental heritage. Our innovative approach is based on synergy between culture, environmental protection, and sustainable tourism. The project will be able to boost the local economy and involve the community in international events, counting on an immediate feasibility thanks to the readiness of the needed technology and the easy developability of the interactive itinerary support tools. And now, the business model in a nutshell. The expected total cost of the first three-year period is estimated to be 50,000 euros, and they will cover the regeneration of building and paths, the mapping and preservation actions for the biodiversity, and the setup of the interactive itinerary, and so on. The rate of return is expected to be higher compared to other players involved in the sector of local promotion, and the rate of return will be able to cover all the expenses. Indeed, the service can be requested by several types of investors, like Hotellerie Association. And
you have 1 minute.
Yes, tour operator, municipality, and regions, especially after the COVID situation for economy boosting purposes. Next slide, please. In conclusion, just a few words about our team. We are the Social Seeds Informal Group, a team made of representatives from different realities of the third sector, mainly involved in environmental protection and local promotion and development. Our strength is the different background and experience that characterize each member, giving us the capacity to design a new solution from different perspectives and the benefit of a solid network, both local, because we have strategical partners like Legambiente and Parco Regionale dei Monti Lattari, but also international, thanks, for example, to the collaboration with the Polish volunteers of the World Peace Lab and University of Stettino, expert of reforestation and spreading good practices. Lastly, thanks to this competition, we expect to...
Please conclude, Giulia.
Yeah, I'm concluding. We expect to deepen our knowledge of local development in a circular perspective, hoping to find reliable partners to set up future collaboration in the field of creative cities and region. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Giulia, for your presentation. I would like to give the floor now to Enrico Danzi to present the dough makers. Enrico, please activate.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. Thank you for being here, for this opportunity. We are the dough makers, and we based our project in the northwestern part of Italy, in the province of Cuneo. You may know it due to its excellencies like Barolo wine or white truffles, but we center our project in a more marginalized area. It is the one closest to mountains, which is the home of old agricultural tradition, but is suffering due to economical crisis and the population. And we hope that our project will help to mitigate these effects and this phenomena. The best idea for us is to introduce a circular economic approach in this territory. So starting the green circle there, we can collect dry agricultural waste for farmers, so giving the farmers an economic contribute. And with this material, we create, together with mycelium of fungi and water, so very simple ingredients, a new material that can be used to create many products. The most important and relevant thing is that this material is a fully compostable material. So once you get rid of it, it can be potentially used as a fertilizer in the fields in which it has been harvested. So it closed the circularity there. As for those, we are choosing to pick the one coming from traditional crops of our territories. By doing this, preserving the biodiversity, but also the cultural tradition connected to these cultures. Next slide, please. The best market for our solution is the one related to packaging. Plastic is dominant in this sector, and waste related to plastic packaging are rising in recent years. Also, accordingly to the growing of e-commerce online, I guess a lot of you have ordered something on Amazon in this last year, and this number will grow in the next future. So our intention is not to change this trend, but to make it more sustainable, addressing to business actors that are already shipping their items, giving them the possibility to use our product and to make their shipping more sustainable. And we will address especially to customers and companies that are already interested and aware of environmental issues and sustainability. And we'll start our business from there. So giving them a material that could be used for packaging, that is full compostable, that has a negative carbon emission, and that is
you have 1 minute.
Local communities. Yes. Next slide, please. So this is us. We have a lot of things in common. We have grown in the same town, in the same territories. We live in the same values, but we have different backgrounds in our studies. So this could be an add-on to our project, to our research, and our material is a material that will grow in about 1 week. So after this, we will need some space to store it, some stoves to dry our material out, and some resources to make some development on our ideas. So we wish that thanks hopefully to your contribution, we could change and transform our ideas into something more concrete. And that's all. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Enrico, for your presentation. If I'm not mistaken, Antonia will be launching the poll now. Just to vote again on these 5 startup presentations, just to assess your perceptions, your feelings, your opinions. So please take your time to vote while I'll be presenting our next keynote speaker. Our next keynote speaker actually is a CLIC partner, Servas van Berkem from Hughes Becquart. Servas is a program maker, moderator, and community builder at Hughes Becquart in Amsterdam. Servas, are you there?
I am. Thank you for having me today, and thank all the startups for these wonderful stories and the wonderful, enthusiastic new ideas. And I'm really happy to see it all. So thank you so much.
So Servas, you have 10 minutes, and I will be notifying you 1 minute before the end.
Amazing, thank you. As you all know, Amsterdam is a private city. A lot of things happening all the time. I have a few pictures of the view of the city and what's happening in our place. And you can just click through the photos until I say stop, because this is important. We are centered in Amsterdam. We're proudly, next picture, please. We're proudly Amsterdammers. We're proudly part of the city, but we're also focusing on talking about the future of cities in general. So Pakhuis de Zwijger is a theater building. It's a location where people can meet. And if you could speed it up a bit, it's a location where people can meet and can talk about topics that are important for cities. So how can we make society in such a way that our society will be thriving, successful, just, inclusive, entrepreneurial, or a location where people can really be successful or really can be happy and can participate in their own surroundings. To do that, we have this building, and we meet normally a lot of people. You can leave it here for a few seconds. We bring a lot of people together in our building and let them talk about what's really going on in society. And if you could go to the next slide and the next slide. And this means that people can really meet and interact from all different walks of life with each other to talk about what's really happening in their own society and really get them to connect. Of course, because of COVID, we're not able to do that anymore. And so we had to switch from this location where normally we have this really idea to bring people together in the most literal sense of the word, to a less open, less connected situation. And this moment I'm in our cafe, which normally would have been packed at this kind of moments for a conference or things going on. And now I'm just on my own in an empty cafe with empty shelves behind me. If you go on a few slides. So we changed from a situation where we bring together about 1,000 events per year, about 90,000 visitors live in the studio with about 110 visitors, people joining our conversation via livecast. We had to change to doing this online. But the good thing, in a sense, about this whole development is that we discovered what we do is really about, is to bring change in society, to get this to get people to talk to each other and connect with each other. So we devised a way to doing that via a live stream and via the internet. And that's the point where we want to do. That everything we do is about the question, who owns the city? Who owns their environment? And we believe that what Pakhuis stands for is a place that we can really bring all different stakeholders together and get everyone a seat at the table. For this, of course, storytelling is very important. It's very important to share about what society is all about, what your story is all about. And when I listen to all the startups today, and I've seen all the startups that are coming on in the next round, those are all people who are really connected with their topic and really have a love for the thing they want to do. And I think in storytelling, and the thing we try to do with talking about what's going on in society, it is vitally important to share what your personal motivation is to do something, and to really share about how you think you can better society. Because of course it's totally fine to just make money and just to have a successful business. But I think when we can really be successful in society is when we strive to focus our energy on bettering society as a whole. So try not to have a business case where you end up just to be a monopolist. I think that is bad for everyone, even the monopolist. Try to have a society where the ecosystem as a whole is healthy and successful. I hope that is what we're doing in Pakhuis in different ways. We try to do that with programs, with events, with other kinds of topics, and you can see it here, where people can join in. But mostly we try to be a platform for people to talk about what they're doing and what really drives them in changing their own future, but also hopefully society for the better. I hope this in a nutshell brings, tells a story about what we try to do and about the question, who owns the city? And I think the answer to that question is we all own our city, and it's too important, and society is too important to leave it up to just a few people. So we really should involve all players in society. So thank you so much, and best of luck to all the startups.
Thank you very much for this inspiring presentation, actually. And I would like to bring again a couple of points that you raised that are highly important, which are bringing change and connecting people through storytelling. And what is most important, I believe, is the fact that you're trying to achieve this not only for Amsterdam and Amsterdammers, but to cities in general, in order to have our future cities thriving, being inclusive, happy. So you're stressing the fact of health and well-being and entrepreneurial. So thank you very much, Service, for, I'm sorry?
I forgot beautiful in all senses of the word. It's very nice. I love my city because it's beautiful. I love most Italian cities because they're beautiful. And I think that is a very integral part of society and of the world. I would hope that the world in 100 years is still beautiful and worth living in. So,
but I believe they will. If we keep this participatory approach and being inclusive and open to everyone's opinion and contribution. So thank you very much, Service, again. And I would like now to move to our second speaker, Silvia Manca from the European Investment Fund. Silvia is responsible for the social impact programs within the strategy business development team at the European Investment Fund. Silvia, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, and I hope you can hear me. And you can
hear
see my screen.
Yes, and your screen is up. You have 10 minutes.
Perfect.
And I will be notifying you 1 minute before the end.
You said 10 minutes, right?
10 minutes, yes.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you very much to the CLIC team for this invitation. I'm delighted to be here to represent indeed my institution, the European Investment Fund. The fund, as you probably know, is part of the European Investment Bank Group, which is the biggest multilateral development institution, and also one of the biggest finance of climate actions and climate finance. Now, we have been hearing today a lot of concepts that are definitely at the heart of our initiative, at the heart of our activities. And I tried to summarize in the following slide that you should see now, where do we place the EIF within the European ecosystem? We have been hearing today, for instance, programs such as Horizon 2020, such as Creative Europe, linked to social impact, linked to inclusion policies. So as you know, the European Union set certain policy objectives and priorities, and there are several actions that are undertaken in order to achieve such policy priorities. One of these actions is actually the magic word of financial instruments, where the EIF plays. Via the instruments that are entrusted by us, by the European Union, notably by the European Commission, we basically try to channel these resources in different policy areas down to the market. So in a nutshell, what does it mean? We don't work directly with start-uppers, with entrepreneurs, but via a diversified range of partners, what we call financial intermediaries, namely, for instance, banks, microfinance institutions, venture capital fund, business angels. We try actually to reach downstream the entrepreneurs. And the EIF, in fact, is the prime provider in Europe of access to finance to small and medium-sized enterprises. Since our foundation in '94, we financed more than 1.8 million of SMEs across Europe. How does a financial instrument work? Compared to a normal grant, so a repayable form, or a non-repayable form of finance, the concept behind is that via €1 of public reserves, we are able actually to multiply these reserves so that, for instance, here we have €5 are reaching the real economy, are actually reaching the small businesses. Just to give you an idea, last year in 2019, we committed to our financial intermediaries roughly 10 billion euros in diversified areas. And this has generated downstream more than 50 billion of actual financing to the benefit of these small businesses. Our main products are the equity instruments, where our investment helps kickstart the ecosystem and attract other investors. So to play a catalytic role to attract these other investors. And then debt risk sharing instruments, where, for instance, our loan guarantees provide protection against the losses that such financial intermediaries may incur, therefore incentivizing the lending at better terms to small businesses that otherwise will be considered too risky for being financed. Now, how do we do that? This is what I call actually the P approach, which is based on the following pillars. We do have dedicated programs, and here you can see very familiar name. I mentioned already Horizon 2020, I mentioned CCS, which is the guarantee facility part of the cultural and creative sector program. You probably know the EFC, the European Fund for Strategic Investment, which is part of the investment plan for Europe, also called Juncker Plan. You might be heard about EASY, the Employment and Social Innovation Program, and so on and so forth. And these programs, in turn, allow us to implement a diversified set of products that are, in a nutshell, the ones that you see in the slides, but in reality, they entail wider complexities and wider bespoke product offering. And then, of course, we have dedicated people with specialized teams that are responsible for shaping the programs that you have on the left-hand side, in cooperation, of course, with our colleagues at the European Commission, the European Investment Bank, but also other entities. And then you have teams that are specialized in the financial products, the equity investment or the debt financing. But at the same time, they are also specialized in the particular sectorial programs, such as social impact, such as culture, such as innovation, and so on and so forth. The fourth P is, of course, promotion. We are aware that we sometimes are told that we have great tools, that the EU has great tools, but there is maybe little awareness sometimes of that, particularly vis-a-vis the entrepreneurs community. This is why for our programs, we have created bespoke type of campaign whose objective is precisely to bridge this awareness gap. And here on the slide, you find an example of our campaign for the cultural and creative sector guarantee facility, which is a financial instrument that we started implementing a few years ago that can count on a budget of 250 million and that has given so far exceptional results with a wide number of financial intermediaries backed across Europe, ranging from Iberia to the Nordics, to the Central Europe, to the Eastern Europe, and so on and so forth. And finally, of course, passion, because without that, we wouldn't be, of course, here to try to deliver all these tools to the ecosystem. Now, what is the rationale behind? If we put all the tools that I mentioned on a continuum, you will see that what we are trying to do is via our products to offer support to the financial intermediaries, therefore in turn to the entrepreneurs from the very early stage of inception. So we are talking about pre-seed, seed phase, up to the more later stage, expansion and development. And the idea is, of course, that each of this market segment, they need specific tailored instruments because different actors are actually operating in the system. So the one size fits all doesn't work. Hence our bespoke solutions. Now, in which area we are operating? If you see, this is actually how we visualize our policy approach. There are four main categories: competitiveness and growth, innovation, social impact skills and human capital, sustainability and green transformation. And you will see that each of these big clusters is articulated in a number of sub-objectives. Now, I'm proud to say that EIF is operating in basically almost all these policy areas with specific facilities. And the idea is indeed in the near future, particularly now that we are in the preparation, let's say, of the next generation of funding at the European level, the idea is indeed to step up our effort in these policy areas that you can see that they are linked to the SDGs, and you can see that they also benefit from cross-cutting objectives, such as, of course, the climate action and the cohesion policy. Now, Of course, we do have our social media channel that I will invite you to visit. And I'm, of course, available for questions. Now, I would like to stop sharing my screen and conclude my intervention with just a personal note. Am I still on time?
Yes, you have almost 2 minutes.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. So, I mean, my point is the following: that all this might seem maybe a little bit disconnected from the entrepreneurs, but in reality, what is the connection with my personal story? I'm myself the daughter of 2 entrepreneurs who own a bookshop in a small village in Sardinia. And I remember growing up actually amongst the piles of books because I wanted indeed to stay closer to my parents, and they were spending most of the time in the shop. So I witnessed myself the effort, the toil, but at the same time the passion and the rewarding that being an entrepreneur means. And I remember also when I was
Silvia, you have 1 minute now.
Yes. So I remember when I was a kid that my parents was actually keeping the shop open, even in plain winter when very few people were around. So there was this light in a square, in an empty square, but yet there was a light. Then my life continued. I graduated in economics for art, cultures, and communication because I wanted to keep, let's say, an eye on my passion, arts and culture, since I was also performing in dance at the time, but at the same time, I wanted to undertake a pathway in economics. Life developed. I worked in finance for a while, and then I thought that my life was pretty much settled. Then at the EIF, I had the opportunity to work on the first pan-European facility for cultural and creative sectors. I had the opportunity to work on tools that could stimulate the social impact, the social inclusions, and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, I understand that the circle, let's say, was complete. And what keeps me actually, yes, what gives me the passion of doing my job is actually to think about that very same light of my parents. So to keep the light still on and make sure that we can multiply those lights so that we can support the entrepreneurs of today and of tomorrow, and to make those lights even brighter. So my message to you today is that I'm honored to be here with you today to listen to all this enlightening idea. I wish you all good luck, and to all participants, a fruitful and enriching event. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Silvia, for this inspiring presentation, especially because you provided the participants with financial instruments and policies that would help them to obtain funds starting from seeding, pre-seeding until expansion. So this is indeed a great opportunity. Thank you very much also for providing your personal insight to their entrepreneurial journey. I would like to invite you now to look at the results of the polls. I wonder if everyone is can see them, Antonia? Yes, I guess so.
Yes.
So again, these are only perceptions, no worries. So just you can understand what are people's opinions and feelings about the startup. I believe you are looking forward to a brief break. So we will go again for a couple of minutes break. It's 12:03. So we meet again at 12:05.
Thank you. See you later. I think we are looking at the screen of someone. I'm not sure who is.
It says here, Serena Micheletti screen.
Ah, Serena, don't share your screen.
Antonia, sono Silvia. Senti, vi mando poi le slide in PDF se volete condividerle con i partecipanti. Ci sono anche i miei contatti nel caso servissero.
No, non ti preoccupare, è andata benissimo, grazie.
Grazie, senz'altro.
Ok.
Mi potete assicurare che
Siete contente voi, sono contenta anch'io.
Certo. Allora, siamo ancora in diretta, quindi vi chiedo di non mostrare lo schermo. Serena, se puoi togliere la condivisione schermo durante la pausa.
Antonia?
Un attimo perché non riesco più a toglierla.
Ok.
Marti.
Yes, Luca?
Antonia, can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear
good.
you. Yeah. We will restart in
Yes.
a couple of seconds. Antonia, can we start again?
Yes, we start again.
Okay, perfect. So welcome back again to the third round of startups presentations. So now our third session is creative industries and social innovation. We have again 5 startups and 2 keynote speakers. Our 5 startups are Marte, represented by Luca Danieli from Italy, Extra Artis from Italy, represented by Francesca Ciampa, Ya Amar from Palestine, represented by Rania Hamad, History's App from Italy, represented by Riccardo Bonina, and Restructure Heritage from the United States of America, represented by Rayleigh Marshall. I would like to give the floor now to Luca from Marte. Luca, you have 4 minutes. Please activate your microphone.
Okay. Marte is an artistic mobility tech system. Can you go to the next slide? As the society becomes more complex, cultural institutions need new tools for the cooperative management of culture. Support to small cultural spaces is needed. In 2019, Creative Europe called for the creation of new distribution models to stimulate collaboration and to enhance venues' role and identity in the local community. Our solution designs a circular model through big data analytics. As you can see on the left, the product allows cultural institutions to identify cultural projects made by individuals and small groups through a peer review process and distribute those in small and adaptive spaces. On the right side, you can see that by collecting data on cultural participation, data will be either directed to cultural institutions or used to improve connection with the end user. Small audiences are usually considered a problem for commercial strategies, but in our case, this turns into an asset, since they provide variance useful to analytical methods. The system is very useful to cultural institutions, production networks, and artist-in-residence programs to adapt and react to information on cultural participation for the design of more effective cultural and educational projects. Next slide, please. The product wants to become an open, peer-regulated environment for artistic mobility. In Europe, artistic mobility is an opportunity to suggest novel technological approaches. Our metrics refer to the Italian territory alone and should be scaled up for Europe. Eurostat research highlighted that 60% of the population is located in rural areas. A preliminary explorative research highlighted distance and the poorness of performance as the more important barriers to cultural participation. We therefore believe that a minimum of 0.5% of the population partaking in cultural events might benefit from our product. As for the business model, we have counted in Italy 5,000 theaters that may use our product and 11,000 organizations potentially interested in data and visualization algorithms. For an average of 200 euros per membership, it would generate a turnover above 3 million euros in Italy. Organizations include universities, cultural institutions, foundations, theaters, public entities, and private professionals in Europe. Next slide,
you have 1
please.
minute.
The team brings together professionals in 4 different yet complementary fields on art practice, technology, art management, architecture, and finance. Luca is dedicated to study the dynamics of artistic production and performance in the technology. Laura has a master in city planning and a specialization in theatrical stage to relate with the field of urban regeneration. Sandy is a professional in the field of cultural management to understand institutions' needs and data analysis, and Stefano developed business programs for 18 European countries for Canon Europe. We estimate a cost of 230,000 euros to support the first year of activity and the development of a minimum viable product. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Luca, for your presentation. I would like to give the floor now to Francesca Sciampa from Extra Artis. Francesca, please activate your microphone.
Okay, can you hear me? I am mute.
Yes. We do hear you.
Okay, thank you. Can I start?
You can start, yes.
Okay. We are Extra Artis, artists in residence for creative economy, and we offer a service to connect the accommodation facility market to the world of art through the practice of artist residence. We starting from our hometowns, Sorrento and Amalfi Costa, and we rethink the settlement system identity as closely connected to the value of the tourism offer of its territory. Please go on. Artwork can be transformed into tourists, and with its circulation, it can activate a speculative process on territorial scale in which all stakeholders involved can co-create a participatory process identifying creativity and culture as the new drivers of economic and social growth. In particular, art creating value is able to improve the heritage tourism into a sustainable system, and we focus our attention on the autopoietic ability of art to transform synergy into circular relationship between people, culture, and economy, in order to create a real artistic heritage community aware of its cultural identity through educational and creative extractive service. We take in particular from the negatives of pandemic period as an opportunity to renew the tourism, and extractive platform for us is is a place where, through a call for artist participation fee, allows young artists to free practice and improving their portfolio and at the same time selling their artwork in our digital window or our local partner museum. The advantages for the hosts is the possibility to increase the quality of their advertising and touristic offer, reducing the losses from the seasonal inactivity hosting the artists and from sanification, because they exploit the permanence of the same artist for a long time. Skip, please. As the Fearless Girl Extra Artist challenge the market by placing itself in a section of accommodation facility relay. It's a growing market because most of private cultural heritage has been transformed into relay in order to cover the building maintenance cost. We are no real competitor. For example, Booking and Airbnb host houses with the cultural value for ordinary people, and common people, for example, host artists to receive in exchange an artwork. But these don't generate significant revenue or value in terms of cultural impact on the community. The Artistic Foundation offer it, for example, but with too expensive costs for young generation of artists. Instead, we obtain profit from the artwork marketplace, from events, from the participation fee excessive compared to the relay.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, we pay using this, but we also improve the social and cultural impact. Please go on. We image territorial network in which art activate economic connection in a multi-scale perspective. The nodes are the relay, and the connection between them is the flows that extractive service allow made by artists and tourists. Each network acts on local scale, but if linked into a single mesh, we can influence the territory first on local, then national, European, and final global scale. Our team is composed by different figures to reduce the fixed costs and to use what we learned by the last European project that we won, supported by the Fondazione Mies van der Rohe Barcelona Center for Fine Arts of Bruxelles, and which our idea was inspired and experimented. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca, for your presentation. I would like now to invite Rania Hamad to present Ya Amar. Rania, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I would like to start with the meaning of our name as a startup, Ya Amar. In Arabic, it means something like "O moon" or even "O beauty." And the reason why we chose this is for two specific reasons, actually. One, because our culture and our heritage is beautiful and has to be protected and passed on. And secondly, because the moon obviously represents, circularity and also has goes through phases. So, it has a beginning and it has an end, but then it restarts. So I would like now to pass on to our project. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so, and for this reason, Ya Amar, seeks to basically make known the heritage of the Palestinian people. And as you mentioned before, we are a group of Middle Eastern, originally Middle Eastern, Palestinian, Lebanese, etc., but based in Italy. And we feel that Roman Italy is like the center of Europe. And we want to, from here, basically promote the intangible cultural heritage of the Palestinian people and basically create a bond and a connection and basically regenerate those skills that are century old of Palestinians and make them known to Palestinian communities in Italy as well as in the rest of Europe. And we know that by doing that, basically, therefore, investing in our culture, we would be investing in many things, basically in regenerating community, solidarity, and for that, we aim to, create courses, which I'll explain in the next slide. But basically, the way we want to do it is to empower our women, which are the skilled people in this question. And we want to support our embroidery art, which is called terraced in Arabic, and therefore we want to record what these women have to teach our younger generation in Italy, and then pass it on to other communities in Europe, Palestinian communities, but also to teach it to, to the general population in Italy, and make known these incredible skills that the Palestinians have, and also helps sustain local communities and local economy, therefore help Palestinian women that have these skills to actually become financially independent, which will impact communities socially and economically. We can pass to the next slide. Exactly. So the reason why we came up with this project, we are a group of women, 4 women specifically.
You have 1 minute.
Yes, but we also have many other people interested in joining our project. We see that there is very limited competition. Actually, there isn't anything of this sort in Italy right now. We see that in North America there is, and we are an intergenerational group of women, and we are in contact with a vast number of associations and organizations working on the promotion of the Palestinian cultural heritage. And we have organized the first Palestinian cultural festival in Rome, Italy, and the first of its kind even in Europe. And we want to do that over and over again. And in fact, one of our aims is to create a cultural space and a museum, which could be the first Palestinian museum in Europe, and to do zero waste festivals where we can, make our culture known to the general public. We can go to the next slide.
Rania, please conclude. Your time is up.
Yes. Oh, okay. I thought I was at 4 minutes. So we're a highly motivated group of women. We're 4, and we specialize in business, public relations, media. We have also an event manager, which will help us, basically create the festivals that we have in mind to, make people know more about the Palestinian cultural heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rania, for your presentation. I would like now to invite Riccardo Bonina to present History's app. Riccardo, the floor is yours.
Good morning to everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. This project takes inspiration from an existing product. Sicily History's app is an app created for the valorization of the cultural heritage in Sicily. And by our experience with the schools, we propose the creation of a platform and app dedicated exclusively in students. Students, they are involved to create and take active part for the valorization of their territory by creating contents and proposing activities, cultural activities and experience. This experience, they will be financed by their community itself and by users of the app. Our project, our product is positioning between the initiative of cultural valorization, through the sharing of goals and contents. Most of our competitors don't have a particular approach to the school and to students, and with the circular economy. And we propose 2 different business channels. We have B2B and B2C normally. In B2B, we receive revenue from commercial fees and from license from the school. And in B2C, we receive revenue from app purchase and the commission of the project funding. Normally in this segment, at the moment, in the pre-COVID period, there was a very increase, because we believe that the increase is about of 9%, with especially in the cultural spending, cultural spending. Other slides, please. Okay. The most important way on this project is the circularity, because we want to take part of the revenues of the project and go back to the students in activities or cultural goods. This model is in this time is a way, and in my local area. Other slide, please. This is the team. We are.
You have 1 minute.
Yes. In our company, we have 3 developers that are mobile developers and 1 project manager. Normally, the developers, they are involved to develop the platform and the app, and the project manager is take care of cultural contents and take contact with the schools and the students. External, we have a collaboration with experts for graphics design, 3D modelers, and IA specialist and a social media manager. Okay, thank you. Okay,
thank you very much, Riccardo, for your presentation. I would like now to move to our last presentation of this session today and give the floor to Riley Marshall to present tree structure heritage. Riley, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you.
Wonderful. My name is Riley Marshall, and it's my pleasure to present Restructure Heritage. Next slide, please. Our vision is to develop workshops that engage the public in the documentation of neglected heritage sites. We see at-risk heritage as an opportunity to bring people together for education and cultural exchange. At our core, we create meaningful experiences that produce data and lay the groundwork for preservation action, a form of tourism that creates positive change. Many rural heritage sites are decaying anonymously, and there is no widespread documentation of these places. Our workshops will start as one-day excursions to neglected sites, where we will begin with heritage documentation training sessions. And from there, our participants will photograph, document the site's conditions, materials, and architectural features, ending the day with a cultural visit and meal together at a local establishment. We will maintain an online database of all the documentation work, which over time will create a more complete picture of the needs of our neglected heritage, and can be used to develop strategies for its preservation. And we hope lead to restoration workshops in the future. Next slide, please. Our initial area of focus will be the small towns of Catalonia, Spain. Nearby Barcelona and Girona are home to many universities and receive over 9 million tourists annually, each spending over 200 euros a day, but arguably symbolizing the pitfalls of over-tourism. From these crowds, we aim to attract students and those seeking deeper cultural engagement than tourism typically allows. In addition, we would like to invite local residents to join us. We're marketing our project to local municipalities to identify the undocumented and at-risk historic sites that can participate as the subject of our workshops. And what's the business plan behind all of this? To get up and running, we need to purchase documentation instruments and participant toolkits, simple items such as clipboards, hard hats, and measuring tapes, all valued around 2,000 euros. Incremental costs per project are minimal and will include transportation, a meal at a local establishment, and a short cultural visit, putting money into small economies that rarely benefit from the tourism industry. We will set our pricing of the workshops to make each one individually profit generating, targeting between 40 and 120 euros per person. Our revenue will come from these participation fees and grant and fundraising efforts to assist with larger startup and operational costs. And our plans to scale? While initially keeping a local focus, we're developing a process that we can replicate anywhere. And through our documentation workshops, we will work to build relationships with sites and identify tasks that we can develop into hands-on restoration workshops in the future. As we grow, we would like to offer multi-day experiences, which we believe can have higher profit margins.
You have 1 minute.
Next slide, please. Oh, next, please. The team behind Restructure includes Irish Costa, a technical architect from Catalonia who is a PhD student in tourism and a youth development construction trades instructor for the municipality. Nilma Muniz, a preservation structural engineer and artist with digital branding and marketing experience, and myself, Riley Marshall, a preservation structural engineer with documentation and mapping experience in professional, nonprofit, and academic settings. As we look to the future, we've identified our next steps to be developing mentor relationships, refining our business plan, and identifying suitable grants and investment opportunities. We believe the awards offered by the CLIC competition are exactly what we need to reach the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Riley, for your presentation. And by your presentation, we conclude the 3 sessions and this last session. We would like now to launch again the polls. Please take your time to vote the 5 startups. And while voting, I would like to present our first keynote speaker for this 3rd session today. I'm pleased to present actually Hughes Becquart from Wetopia and Moving Marseille. She's an expert in participatory policy making, innovative policy maker in transitions at city level in the areas of participation, neighborhood development, sustainable development, environment, and equality. Hughes, welcome to the discussion. As you know, you have 10 minutes and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ruba, and thank you all having me at the CLIC event. I really enjoyed all the presentations. You can show my first slides because I'm going to talk about how entrepreneurs can change the world. And this is Abigail Mbalo Mukuna. She's a friend of mine. She's an amazing entrepreneur, and she recently entered the top 30 of best restaurants in the world with a restaurant in Kayalicha. And I want to show Kayalicha on the next slides, please. This is what Kayalicha looks like. It's a township in Cape Town where more than 600,000 people live. And she grew up here and started her own restaurant in a typical 4-room township house. Next, please. She won MasterChef of South Africa, and she entered the global list of best restaurants. And with her truck, you see at the left-hand side, she moves around in Cape Town, and she became one of the ambassadors of South Africa abroad. And she changes all narratives about Kayalicha, about entrepreneurship in her township, about visibility of another Cape Town, then the Cape Town we usually know as tourists like Table Mountain or the V&A waterfront. Next, please. I want to share you a few thoughts from 2 projects I founded. One is Moving Marseille and one is Wetopia. Next, please. So Moving Marseille, I live in Marseille in the south of France as a Belgian. So I'm also an immigrant in Marseille. And I started with my partner, who is a writer and a storyteller, Moving Marseille, a living lab. And we also set up urban field trips. And we see Marseille as a super diverse city with more than 2,600 years of experience in migration. Because as we say here, nous sommes tous d'ici d'ailleurs. This means we are all from here, but also from elsewhere. And that's a uniqueness of Marseille. It's also, of course, the harbor, working class city, also a resilient city, also a city averse to central power and very proud. And with this in mind, Moving Marseille wants to be a propagandist, a researcher, developer, and a matchmaker of Marseille as a new Neapolis. And you hear it well. For us, Naples, but also Rotterdam, Liverpool, are cities who are alike. Next, please. And how do we do this? We do this by showing the city and organizing visits to Marseille and its diversity in cultures and innovative initiatives from the bottom up. So we set up urban field trips, study trips, immersion trips, but we also research how, by all kinds of interventions, this unique melting pot is put together. And we do this by sharing the stories of Marseille, and we also try to connect, engage, and develop Marseille with the rest of the world. Next, please. Another initiative I'm founder of, and it's a more global initiative, I set up with community architect Kevin Kimwele. It's a Kenyan working from South Africa. And this project is called Wetopia Making Cities Together. And in Wetopia, we are activating all talents and skills in society for better policy making. And we think everyone has a role as a citizen, an activist, a city maker, an entrepreneur, a scientist, a politician, and so on. And too often we still, in our traditional view, we still hide under the umbrellas politicians keep open for us. But I dare to say so because I'm an ex-politician, I think politicians are overestimated. They can no longer solve our problems or address societal challenges on their own. And that's why in Wetopia, we turn the umbrella around and everyone can step into the Wetopia boat and co-create a better future. Next, please. And how do we do this? We do this by communities of practice, customized interventions in, for example, Cape Town, in Port Elizabeth, in Marseille, in Nairobi. For example, here you see in Cape Town, we started with on the platform Open Design Africa with the support of the Bosch Foundation, a Wetopia Academy, in which we set up a learning program for policymakers, in which we set up G100s with people from the townships. In Marseille, for example, on the left-hand side, you see we organized together with Marseille Solutions, with Manifesta, with La Fabrique du Nou, Le Tour de tous les possibles, with 500 inhabitants in new alliances, co-creating concrete solutions and initiatives for the city. And in Nairobi, and I have to say, I just come from this workshop this morning, we started first Wetopia intervention in the slum of Matare, a slum informal settlement with 500,000 inhabitants, starting from place-based potential, co-creating new alliances with residents, experts, policymakers, and funders, energy solutions. Next. I want to quickly share with you 4 great examples of change-making entrepreneurs through social innovation and cultural heritage from our ecosystem. And I go quickly now, the next one. One is Des Étoiles et des Femmes. So if you can share the next slide, please. So Sylvie Bonsion, the owner of a catering company, started the Stars and the Women. And she was very good. She had very good connections with star chefs. Also in the deprived neighborhoods, she often met women with different cultural backgrounds, with great cooking talents. And she saw the opportunity to link them. So she initiated a full-time 9-month education program to connect the talents from the deprived neighborhoods with cooking talents and these star chefs. And this was a great mutual learning, and it's a great project developed already in 5 cities. Next, please. Another project I want to show is Acta Vista. It supports more than 500 job seekers every year by deploying a unique approach. So by daring to entrust the most prestigious places, like you see here, and education to unemployed people, it allows them to regain confidence, proud, and it lays the foundations for their social and professional inclusion. So these employment and training actions are based on the proper restoration of emblematic heritage sites to bring them back to life. Like here, the Fort Saint-Nicolas, built by Louis XIV in the Old Harbor of Marseille. Next, please. A fourth example I want to show is Coco Velte in Marseille. It's a temporary, empty and legally occupied building from the national government as a hotspot to accommodate homeless people and to set up a new ecosystem with lots of partners in different ways. And the first project like this was Les Grands Voisins in Paris. And here at the picture, you see how they sheltered some of the homeless people. And Yes We Camp is in charge of the project and created it with Group SOS in charge of the accommodation center and Plateau Urbain who rents the spaces for activity. And they're involved in the initiative of the neighborhood, social and cultural actors. So it's like a real third place. And it became a real cultural and touristic hotspot. So imagine a shelter for homeless people became a touristic hotspot in Paris. And my last example I want to show, next please, is our great friend Mundano. And I'm very happy to hear that in 2 days he will also speak at the CLIC event. So really come back on the 27th to hear him talking. He's a great artist who decided to make the most invisible people visible. And that's the catadores, or the waste pickers of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And by pimping their waste cars, he makes them heroes of the city and gives a lot of color to the concrete jungle. And he also created an app on which waste pickers have a profile.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, so they can better sell their waste and they could really raise their salaries with 80%. Then I go to the last slide because I quickly want to say that I really like the proposals in this competition, and I'm not going to reflect one-on-one by that, but I want to share quickly 5 thoughts. The first one, use the human diversity of a city. It's so rich, see it and use it. See the place-based potential, because every place is different, so every solution is different. Tell, and I heard it before, a great story. Storytelling is so important. Experiment as much as you can and build new alliances between people who usually don't meet. And let's say, change the world with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yuka, for this brilliant presentation. I think the 5 points are all very, very, very important. And during your presentation, you emphasized a lot on the importance of diversity and how to use it as an added value to enrich the experience. You started by a very inspiring example. You provided additional, even more inspiring examples. And I would like also to repeat your slogan, which I found very, very interesting, that all change makers are policy makers. And this is a brilliant invitation to our startups to change their mindset towards the policy makers and their future beneficiaries. Thank you very much for this brilliant presentation. I would like now to move to our second keynote speaker, Miki Renders from Trans Europe House. Miki is the managing director of Trans Europe House, an international organization of 127 members in 36 different countries, at the forefront of repurposing abandoned buildings for arts, culture, and activism since 1983. Miki, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, Ruba. Good afternoon almost to everybody. I'm also Belgian, and I don't live in the south. I live in the north in Sweden. Thank you, Joke, for your inspiring talk. I don't know if I can move the slides myself. No. Next slide, please. Just shortly go to the agenda. We'll start introducing Trans Europe House.
If you want, I can give you the control.
Yes, please. I will start to present Trans Europe House and then start. Okay, then go to some inspiring, hopefully, examples from our network. So this is you. This is a startup. This is a person or a group of people with an idea and with an empty building, an empty space. So how to fill this building? We are a network of very creative people, as you all are. This is 2 metro carriages that were put on the top of the rooftop of in London, in Shoreditch, to start up a co-working space in those carriages because the space was too expensive in London. And later was born the Village Underground. Here you are in the inside of the Village Underground in London. What is TEH, or Trans-Europe Halls? As Ruba said, we are a network of 126 members in 36 countries all over Europe, also including Caucasus and Eastern Partnership. Our office is in Lund in Sweden. We facilitate the sustainable development of civil society-initiated cultural and creative organizations based in repurposed spaces by connecting and supporting them. So we connect, support, and we promote you. Before giving you some examples from over Europe, I would like to introduce with a general impression. Our centers gather around local communities who integrate, often in a radical way, all layers of society: arts lovers, cultural visitors, immigrants, people who have no legal status, businesses, social innovation, heritage, etc. By repurposing abandoned and empty spaces with the integration of their communities, they are change makers and contribute to social integration and social cohesion in their neighborhoods and cities. Often, when abandoned spaces get reactivated, the violence rates go down, people feel safer and more connected, criminality and prostitution go away. The neighborhood gets to attract another profile of inhabitants or gets inhabited at all and revives slowly. Centraalwerk in Dresden is a unique artist-run space where ideas of affordable housing and culture work come together with experimental, forward-thinking, innovative and participatory artistic production. Since 2016, Centraalwerk has been creating apartments, studios and opportunities for joint cultural production in a former industrial district in a former building in which sewing machines and typewriters were produced. In addition to over 100 local participants, the project also involves cooperation partners and visitors from the urban environment. Centraalwerk is a collective of artists, humanists, architects and craftsmen that have been staging performances, festivals, exhibitions and concerts in Dresden, Germany for over a decade now. The underlying vision of Centraalwerk focuses on providing a non-profit open space for self-determined living and cultural work. In its urban context, Centraalwerk understands itself as a project that focuses on building strong local networks by being an active part of a creative and socially diverse neighborhood, while also promoting the European ID by making international collaborations possible. Ambasada in Timișoara is an independent cultural social enterprise founded in 2014 in Timișoara. They are located in an old hat factory, making a statement regarding the importance of communist industrial heritage. Everything which is from the communist period is being wiped away all over Romania, even though for some it's an intent to disapprove with what happened in the system. Ambasada wants to acknowledge that it is part of their heritage and try and learn from the system, not to erase it. On another point, Ambasada was also the story of a great local brand as a hat company, alongside with a lot of local brands which have disappeared. It was still the acknowledgement about creating value to the local community, a voice in contrast to the multinational industrial presence in Timișoara, which has a highly developed economic center. The building will be torn down this year, but Ambasada has now managed to buy a part of a former paint factory, and the story will continue. Communitism in Athens is an open community of creative professionals, experiences, practices of commoning at Keramikou 28 in Metaxorio, Athens. They revive abandoned or underutilized cultural heritage buildings, transitioning them into cultural commons, entrusted and operated by active communities by building a cooperative relationship between owners and community members. Communitism calls for building owners, public or private, and communities to share responsibilities on maintaining and preserving cultural heritage. They consider collaborative artistic expression as a generator of common knowledge and practice. Art is the methodology to invite people used to acting as individuals into common practices, to transcend into active citizenship. Communitism is based on sharing practices, means of production, competences, and time through practices of collaboration, solidarity, and mutualism. Inspired by civic use principles, communitism grants accessibility, usability, fairness, inclusiveness, and common decision-making processes. The last example is the UFA-Fabrik in Berlin, in Germany. The UFA-Fabrik International Cultural Center promotes the engagement in culture through exchange and education. They combine local and international cultures and thereby create a dynamic field on the participation in the arts for the young and old alike. From 1921 to the mid-70s, the celluloid dreams produced on the grounds of the South Berlin UFA Film Lab were banned. After that, the establishment was broke and the historic building was slated to be demolished. It was then that a group of young enthusiasts saw an opportunity to implement their ideas for a community-oriented and environmentally friendly way of life. They took over the 18,000 square meter tract in June 1979 to put peacefully back into action. This was the beginning of the self-governing work-life project known today as the International Cultural Center UFA-Fabrik Berlin. Approximately 30 residents and over 180 employees come together to live, work, and share their cultural, creative, and social lifestyle with one another. Internationality, sustainability, self-reliance, and self-realization have always been the ideals of UFA-Fabrik and the way in which members not only approach each other, but their neighbors as well. And this since long before work-life balance, networking, and sustainability were the hot cultural buzzwords. I have given you some examples from our network, what we are doing all over Europe. So I would like to encourage all startups to keep on working, be brave, stay curious, and be innovative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike, for your inspiring presentation and for providing us with concrete examples from your network, especially for the fact that highlighting the importance of reusing abandoned heritage without pretending of refurbishing it with very expensive, let's say, projects, but to use it in a temporary way and to be very creative about how to experiment and valorize the value of the community using the building as well. So thank you very much again, Mike, for your presentation and this food for thought for our startuppers. We can now all see the result of the voting. Thank you for everyone for taking part in the polls. And again, this is only a way to understand your perceptions in relation to the 5 presentations. It was a great pleasure for me to moderate these 3 sessions. And I can see that we still have 100 participants. Thank you for being still with us until now. And I would like to give the floor to Antonia for the next and final part of today.
Yes, thank you, Ruba, for moderating these 3 amazing sessions. You did a great job, and I would also like to thank you for supporting us in all the process of selection of the startups together with my colleagues. So let me also thank so much my colleagues, Valeria Catanese. You know her because you were sending, all of you, thousands of emails in the last weeks and days, and I thank so much Martina Bosone and Serena Micheletti for the support today. Without them, it would have been impossible to organize such an amazing meeting. Thanks to Ugo Guarnacci as well, and all the people of involved hands-on in this competition. So thanks to all. So now I would like to give you a 2 minutes break. We are almost on time. We will take 5 minutes more. So just 2 minutes break and we come back for the final words. I will say you what comes next this morning, and I will introduce also the training session with the O12 Factory Enrico Vellante. So 2 minutes break and we come back. Hello, welcome back. I hope this startup competition music has energized you once again. I hope you have taken a coffee and we have the last 10 minutes of this meeting. Thanks to all for remaining with us. We have almost 100 participants still. It's amazing to see such a participation. So let me ask my wonderful colleagues to share the slides of the last minutes, just to make you aware what we will do now, what comes next. So yeah, we have these 2 days, 25 and 26 of November. First part of these 2 days has just ended and you have received really inspirational suggestions and examples from our speakers. So thanks to all. Now we really start the hands-on part of the competition with the 15 finalists involved in a training session. So the training session is led by O12 Factory together with the CNR IRIS and with business experts and circular economy experts involved from the CLIC project and the jury members. So 9 startups will be selected for the final stage on the 27th. So next slide, please. So we go to the 27th of November. It's next Friday. So remain with us for Friday morning, because we will see the best 9. Of course, all of the startups that we selected are best. I need to say this. It was an amazing session this morning, and thanks to all for this great participation. So, but 9, please go back. 9 will we'll go to the 27th of November. In the morning, we will have again 3 pitch for each session: circular tourism, circular city and region, and creative industries and social innovation. So same 3 topics, 3 startups in each group. And then we will have the session with Mundano. I thank Ugo Guarnacci for this great addition to the program, and Mundano was already presented also by Yoke in her presentation, in her speech. So we will talk about entrepreneurial spirit facing the COVID-19 pandemic, creative and circular business models for social and climate justice. It's a complex topic. Ugo will have this conversation with Mundano, and we will have 3 speakers for this session to discuss this important aspect. And then next Friday at 12, stay tuned. We will have the award ceremony with the 5 winners of the competition and many additional prizes also to be given. So that's all from me. And I would give the floor to Enrico Bellante from the O12.
Hello.
Please. Okay, Enrico.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Ready.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank Antonia. Thank all the CLIC project team for the job we did in these weeks. And I would especially like to thank all the startups who take part and applied for our competition. It was very interesting in this week, in the last week, to interview more than 60 startups or women startups, because I discovered the world I didn't know in this world of startups. I've seen a lot of ideas, even sustainable idea, in a very specific niche, I would say, of businesses focused on preservation and enhancement of cultural heritage, and many of them with using circular economy tools and answering to the circular economy principles. So it was very surprising to me that so many businesses can born and grow working in this market. Now our next challenge will be to make these businesses clearer for the entrepreneurs, clearer for the jury, working next hours on a pitch which should show that their business model is able to stay on the market and to be to have a financial and economic equilibrium, and can grow the market and possibly can generate profits. Because now in the next session and during the training activity this afternoon and tomorrow, we will talk about business. So the idea is that they must be able to create a business and possibly to find investors. Of course, our prizes, the prizes of the competition, will give them the opportunity, even in the next months, to fine-tune their business. But the idea is that in these next hours, we will be able to create, a framework for our startups. Probably some of them are already on the market, are already having big revenues. Some others are just an idea, are just ideas, but can become business. So I would just like to say good luck to all our startups. We will meet later on Google Meet, as we are going to use Google Classroom to work and to coordinate 15 different teams working all together at the same time. Participants have already received the link, in the next half an hour, they will receive the link for their classroom where they can meet and interact with our expert and the other colleagues of the other organization. So, what to say? Good luck to all our startups. Good luck to us. Hoping to have businesses in the next days that will arrive at the market in the next months. I don't go for, I stop now because it's lunchtime and I can think that all of us want to go to something. And at 2:30, we will meet again with our startup. So thank you everybody and see you later.
Thank you so much, Enrico. It was all very clear. I think that we can close for now. I invite all of you again to join on the 27th, same Zoom link, so same registration that you already did. And good luck to all the startuppers who will work now in this training session. And we hope to see you all on the 27th on Friday. Thanks to all. I stop here the Facebook.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.